Hey everyone, this is Tyrone of the Clarion Group, and as always, money never sleeps, and neither does opportunity. Take advantage of it. Um, this video is going to be about how to get your letters opened. And if you're a real estate investor, one of the biggest decisions you come across when it comes to marketing is: do you send letters or do you send postcards? Both have their advantages, both have their disadvantages. Some people don't want to send letters because of the problems getting them open. And since that you get a better response rate sending letters with a first class stamp, it costs more to send a letter than it does a postcard. And what people don't want to do is basically waste money on marketing that is not being read by their targeted audience. Well, a few months ago, I came across a technique on how to get my letters opened that I don't recall any guru ever talking about, so this is something that's pretty much new, and hopefully it'll help. Let's say that you're targeting frustrated landlords, okay, and you're sending out, say, 100 letters to a targeted list. And you send out a letter such as something like this, okay? Now let's say that you have a first-class stamp right there, and say you have it typed up, because the thought of basically writing out 100 letters firsthand with handwritten letters, carpal tunnel syndrome and all that stuff doesn't sound very appealing. So you decide to run them to your printer and you print them out. Now the problem is that since they're printed up, it's going to come off as being more like junk mail, bulk mail, or whatever, even if you have a first-class stamp on there. So then the question is, well, how do you get this letter opened? If you're not going to put anything in there like what the gurus talk about, put like a pebble or an aspirin or a piece of candy or something like that in there, or use a different color envelope or some other tactic. How do you get this letter open? Let's say that you have a letter in here that targets a frustrated landlord, that you are the solution to their problem, to their destructive tenants, property that needs rehab or whatever, need to unload this property, but they don't know about you because they don't want to open this letter, because to them this letter is junk mail. How did this letter get open? Well, came across this a few months ago, and it actually came across, I'm gonna say by accident. I got a letter in the mail from another advertiser, and I guess the saying is that good artists copy, great artists steal. So when I got this letter from another advertiser, I saw, wait a minute, maybe this might work with what I'm doing. Well, anyway, what I did is I implemented the idea that was targeted towards me, towards my list, and I sent out 100 letters, and I got 15 of them responded to. That's basically, it was a 15% response rate. And I didn't do anything different to the envelope. The envelopes were still printed, not handwritten, and I still used a first-class stamp. The only thing I did different is I put a stamped message on my letter in red letters. Since my letters were going out to frustrated landlords and rent court, I put like a message like "Tenant suck approved." Now, if you're asking, well, what does "tenant suck approved" mean? Well, it doesn't mean anything. Tenants suck basically means that tenants suck. If you're targeting people that are in rent court or haven't gotten their rent in several months, the landlord is going to pretty much think that tenants do suck. Tenants are the worst thing ever created. Now, when you say approved, it basically throws the message off. What does it mean? Yeah, tenants do suck, but what else does this mean? So what are they going to do when they see something like this? Tenants suck approved in red letters, basically sticking out from the black text of the return and the address of the letter. What are they going to do? They're going to, of course, open up the letter and see what it's all about. Dear so-and-so, have you had enough of hassle of evicting deadbeat tenants? Isn't it ridiculous how slanted housing laws are towards the tenants? Are you tired of making night and weekend trips to your property on your free time? I'd like to buy your property and rid you of your problem. I can pay all cash and close in as little as 14 days, thus eliminating any fees from any realtors. If the tenant trashed the property on the way out the door, don't worry. We like properties like that. Call so-and-so. Call Tyrone at blah, 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 blah. Sincerely, Tyrone. That's it. A letter like this most likely would not got opened because I didn't hit their hot button. When you have the message on the top, this is their hot button. This is what get the letters opened. Basically, having a pebble or an aspirin, it might get it open, but it doesn't speak to the hot button. If you put a certain hot button message based on your targeted list, this is guaranteed to get your letters open more so than any other tactic. Whether it's basically using different color envelope, putting pebbles in your envelopes, or using a live stamp. Just put like a three word message in red letters. Red letters specifically because it'll stand out from the black, and it'll focus on that message, and that will be the trigger in which to open your which to get them to open your letter. And basically, it looks something like this right here. This stamper ran me about $6. Got it off of vistaprint.com. And it works. And I mean, you can pretty much create a stamper for whatever targeted list that you want. Let's say if you want to mail letters to a list of code violations, create a specific message targeted towards them. Like, is your property need of repairs? Is it vacant? Whatever. Have you seen your property lately? It could be anything. But as long as the message is targeted towards your list, and as long as it's in red ink specifically, to highlight it away from the rest of the text, get them to focus on that, make the message geared towards their situation. In other words, hit their hot button, and that will give you a greater chance of getting your letters opened. And once you get the letters open and they read your message, they're more inclined to call you based on what your message is. As I said before, this is much better than just this. Anyways, that's just my quick tip on how to get your letters opened. Hope it helps, and see you guys on the other side. And as always, money never sleeps, and neither does opportunity. Take advantage of it. See ya.